recording. All right, so this is an introductory class to SSIS installation and learning how to run simple packages on SSIS. Well, this is a very broad topic which requires some significant amount of time to be able to understand everything on SSIS. So the goal behind this program or this session today is actually to give you an overview and get you situated and get you started. In case you want to learn more on SSIS, you at least have the basics that requires you to be able to move on. And also, this will also help you to be able to present yourself in an interview situation scenario and also be able to know and talk about basic packages that you do on the day-to-day basis. So this is actually for production level database administrators, how to manage and maintain SSIS packages. And because there's quite a lot of installation that we need to do, I'm going to start the class first by sending you the links to start the installations before we can actually go into the theoretical part of what we want to talk about today. Okay. So first of all, let me send the link. So this the first link that I wanted to download is Visual Studio Installer 2019. Now, Visual Studio is the tool that you will use to run all your packages. I started trying it with 2022, but I realized that the Integration Services Project 2022 is not yet available. I spent significant amount of time today trying to figure that out, but it didn't work. So we are going to stick with 2019. And hopefully, once the 2022 is released, we will also bring it here and we'll learn together. Okay. So this is the link to install Visual Studio 2019. So if you open this link, so by opening this link, it will take you straight to the installer. Okay, you can see it's already installing here on my side. So I already did such a way that you guys don't just have to click and install. So I'm putting it here in the chat. All you need to do is click on it and let it install. You can see it's right here on my download folder. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is we need to download a SQL Server Integration Services project. That's what we use to build all our SSIS projects. So I'm also going to copy this. Once you put it here, I've already taken it all the, oh, I thought it's going to take me all the way to the, didn't I get it all the way there? Oh no, it didn't take me there. Okay, hold on, now I have to look for it. Let me check, was it this one? No. I was hoping that I copied the right one. Okay, now I have to look for it. This is what I was trying to avoid. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So welcome everybody to this introductory class. And we're going to talk about SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. And what is it really all about? What is SQL Server Integration Services all about? When we talk about SQL Server Integration Services, we are actually talking about ways in which you can use these services to integrate multiple data sources into SQL Server, as well as transform them and load them. So ETL, SQL Server Integration Services actually relies on the ETL fundamental. And ETL stands for extract, transformation, and load. Extraction, transformation, and loading. So you extract something, you transform it, and you load it. Okay. Now, looking at it in this case here, we could be extracting data, okay, pull data from many sources. And this could have been maybe from a Salesforce, from HR stores, from Oracle, SQL Server. Now, this data comes in with different formats. Okay. This data comes with different format, which is not interpreted by all programs. Then we need to transform this. So there's an intermediary stage where the data has to be transformed into a readable format, whatever you want to use it for. And once that is done, you then take the transformed data and load it into a central repository. Okay. Now, during the transformation, you do what you apply business rule to the data, everything you're transforming, and then you send the final report to the central repository. Now, look at it this way. Why SSIS? Well, SSIS because nowadays, data, you need to actually deal with data coming from multiple sources. It could be data from a SQL Server, or from DB2, Oracle, a CSV file, and so on. Now, these data you may want to use this data for your analysis services in the data warehouse. Now, the only way you can be able to use this data coming from multiple sources, different format, is to use an ETL process. And that's what SSIS becomes a very powerful tool to be used. So, and you can clearly see that the data, you can integrate a variety of data sources, and you will use it in with data warehouse, and you can actually use this for cleansing. Data comes with a lot of raw data normally comes with a lot of mistakes that needs to be cleaned, and the transformation phase does that. Today is election year in the United States, midterm election. All of you have been seeing all the results coming in from different polling stations, right? Those data typically will come in from different data sources. They'll then be transformed, the load, and then the report. That takes me back to the next phase, right? So common problems. I have data quality problems when I load state data from customers. For example, the election today, you may be coming in from different states, and some of them might use Florida as FL, right? Some of them are abbreviated as FLA or Florida, for example, right? Now, what if I want to have a unified data coming in from different sources, making sure that even if a user inputs the data wrongly, I'm still able to use that data being unified. I need to transform that data, setting different variable or parameters to be able to make sure the data has the same format, right? So that's what happens. So possible solution, an SSIS data flow with DQF transform to clean the data. So you can use this now, clean the data, and load it for you. Okay? Now, quick, let me see if all of you are paying attention. What does ATL stands for? Export, transport, load. B. I want you guys to put down your answers in the chat. Let me see those who are getting it right. What does ETL stand for? ETL stands for extract, transport.
That's D delta.
Extract, transform, load.
D.
Okay, so the best thing for me to do to control this is that I'm not going to mute everybody. You cannot unmute. All right. Put your answer on the chat. Right? Okay. So we want to know what ETL stands for. Export, transform, load, live, or extract, transform, load. Let me see. Majority of the people think is okay. Right, good. You guys are paying attention. So the answer is D, right? So that's what ETL stands for. Now, a business intelligence development tool, when you use SSIS, you need to have a platform or an application that you can actually use to build your packages. Now, there have been a lot of changes in the past in which SSIS packages were actually transformed. Well, I started off with a business intelligence development tool for SQL Server 2005 to 2008 R2. And this data went to a SQL Server data tool all the way to 2016. And right now, you can run SQL Server Management Studio for administration and scheduling. Today, we have Visual Studio that we can actually use this now to integrate our packages. Now, a few terminologies when dealing with SSIS is that first, a package. What is a package? A few things you need to know. Now, a package is a unit of work for SSIS. Any development done in SSIS is within what is known as a package. right? Either you want to move data from an Excel sheet into a SQL Server, or maybe from SQL Server, export it back to an Excel sheet or to a flat file. All this is done within what is called a package. Now, still within you have what is called a connection manager. Every single data source that I talked about in the beginning has to connect to a multiple data source. And for that to connect, you need to create what is called a connection manager. Now, a connection manager stores the connection strings information of your source and destination that will be used in the package. In the package, you always have connection manager for the destination and the source, right? Where is the data coming from and where is the data going to? You have to define that in your connection manager. Now, you also have what is called a control flow. The control flow is a component of SSIS that control the order of operation and flow of a package, right? There can only be one of these per package. In every single package, you have a control flow, which says, okay, this is where the data is coming from. The next stage, the data will be transformed, and the next stage, the data will be loaded. Or maybe this is the first step, requires the data. You run a SQL Server script, extract some data, and on this connection string, and then the data is loaded here, maybe transformed before loaded, and so on. All that is defined what is called a control flow. Now you also have tasks, right? Every single SSIS package is made up of tasks. So these tell SQL Server what operation to perform in the control flow. So a control flow is made up of multiple tasks. You could have data coming from different data sources. The data is then, which now have extraction of data. The data is meshed. The next task is the data will be meshed. Maybe data coming from Oracle, another one coming from SQL Server, maybe needs to be transformed before meshing. All these different tasks within the control flow is what we call the tasks. So it defines exactly what operation needs to be performed. And these operations are performed in what is called precedence. A precedence. So a precedent constraint, a part of a control flow that direct movement between multiple control flow tasks. Meaning that if the data needs to come from this and this action needs to be taken place, the precedence will tell exactly what needs to be done. And if anything is missing, that will show you on the debugging that this is what is failing. You have what is called data flow, another terminology called data flow. Now, this is a task that coordinates data movement and transformation. This is generally where most ETL is done, on data flow, right? So you have control flow and data flow. Control flow will really define all the different tasks. And then data flow will tell exactly how the data moves within that package. And of course, you have transformation. This is what allows you to be able to apply different roles, transform data, do some cleanup in the data, and then move it from one task to another and from one stage to another. You also have event handler. For every single package, there's going to have a lot of errors as well. Now, event handler is a component of SSIS that allow you to control what happens in event of an error. You can decide that even if I move data from SQL Server into another SQL Server, should that be an error within the flow of data, send all the error messages into the error log and send the ones that are working into the next stage. What does that is the event handler, okay? So now, like I said, connection managers. A connection manager will help you connect to different sources. It defines the connection strings to different data sources. Now, once a connection manager has been established, you can always reuse it, right? Unless it's deleted. Now, when creating connection managers, your goal is to make sure that you apply a proper naming convention that help you to clearly identify connection across multiple packages. If you have connection managers on different packages, you want to be able to identify which connection manager you're dealing with. It's good to name them well. For example, here, a provider type, maybe SQL Server, the database, I may want to be connecting to the database, which is MS SQL database. The database name, maybe Adventures Work 2019, and is it an OLDB, and where is it moving the data to, or what is the data source? So giving a proper name helps you to identify connection managers. So like I said, connection managers will define, you have to create connection manager for where the data is coming from, which is the source, and also connection manager to the destination. Now look at these stars here. We're talking about here control flow. Now in this control flow, every single one of these here is what we call a task. Okay. Now looking at that here, tasks execute an operation in the control flow. For example, the first task here, I might want to get some data. Getting this data from maybe an Excel sheet. And the next step will be maybe this data needs to be combined. And during this phase, I have the possibility to allow data that fail during this combination phase, since the data is coming from different sources in here, to be locked into lock failure status. Whatever doesn't fail proceeds and so on. So all these different tasks here are what's called control flow, and every single one here is a task, right? So precedence will define in case of failure or success or completion and so on. Within this control flow, you have also something called containers. Now, containers can be used for organizing elements of the package. For instance, I can have maybe on the same task, I have multiple tasks that are doing the same thing. I can combine all those tasks into a container, right? And it means that once we get to that step, it reroutes into all the different tasks that are inside one container, and only the result gets out. Okay, we're going to look at all that soon when we start dealing with that. So our control flow will do what? Big data, probably maybe data coming from CSV file, from SQL Server, or Excel. That is the data. The data is then transformed, okay, and loaded into a data warehouse. What happens is that the data is then analyzed, and the information obtained from that is then reported. Like what you're seeing right now, results coming directly from different polling stations. Okay, all right. So when working on Visual Studio environment, project files are contained inside. Answer, please. 1, configuration file. 2, SSIS package. 3, solution file. 4, SSIS container. What is the right answer? Put your answer in the chat. What is the right answer? 4, 2. 4, 2. Okay, so majority of people think it's 4 or 2. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, SSIS package contains your package, right? When working on a Visual Studio environment, project files are contained within a solution file. Right? That is what you are going to see. It will contain within a solution file. Everything, a solution file contains all the SSIS packages that you deploy. Within the SSIS package, it defines exactly how the data is actually moving. Okay, so this is an overview of the first part of this. Let's go ahead and actually get SSIS environment ready, and then we can actually review the topography and actually see how we can use it for multiple projects. So the first thing that I want us to do is, I know that most of you already have SQL Server installed in the environment, so I need to add the integration services package. Probably when installing SQL Server, I'm not sure that you added the integration services during your installation. So we shall be adding that feature. So to do that, I have here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I have SSMS here. If I open my SSMS, just raise your hand. I'll give you a chance to ask your question, guys. Just give me a moment. Like I said, this is a hands-on class session. It's not a presentation, so I want it to be more interactive as we can. So if I log into my SSMS, okay, all right, you can see here what is called integration services catalog. Right now, I don't have any, but because I already installed this instance without adding the integration services part of it, I need to go back on configuration manager and to actually verify that that SSIS was not added. And you can clearly see here under my services, I don't have any integration services. So what are we going to do? The first installation that we're doing here is I am not installing a brand new instance at all. So if you don't have an instance, unfortunately, I don't have time to help you install an instance here in class. But for those that have it, we are going to move on and install and add that feature. So let me launch here my installation media. So pull up the SQL Server installation media that you have. And so preferably the 2019, that's what most of us have. If you don't have 2019, launch the one that you have if you don't have the 2019. Okay. So I open this, and yes. Okay, I have installation, download center. On the installation, we're going to go on new SQL Server standalone or add a feature. So what we're doing here, we're actually just adding a feature to the existing installation we already have. So I'm going to click on this. So this can be done by all the students, even including by 13 trainees. If you're by 13, you can as well do this exercise along with us. So yes, you can do it on your host machine, please. I need it on the host machine because there's a lot of downloads that need to be done. If you do it on the VM, you need to make sure the VM has internet to be able to download certain things. So click on next. All right, next. Here, we are not doing a brand new instant installation. Rather, we are adding a feature. And I'm going to add that feature to my default instance. Okay, next. And what feature am I trying to add? I want to add this feature called SSIS Integration Services. So I actually have it added already. This is 2019, yeah, 2019. Looks like I have my already added. You can see it's already checked. I think I added and I forgot to check out this too. That's why it's not showing up there. And for this, I'm not going to put any service account. I'm just leave it default. Specify the port number, and that's install. All right, so we added the feature, the SSIS integration services feature. That's the first thing on an existing installation. And after this, we're going to proceed. So let me pause here and take a few questions. I have SQL Server integration services running, and I've also changed the service account to run under the same service account. Okay, so the next thing that I want us to do right now is let's go ahead and install the Visual Studio. That's what we're going to use to run our packages. Now, on our download, we did download this Visual Studio that I sent on the chat, the community one. we're downloading the community one because it doesn't require any licensing. But in most of the time, you on the corporate world, you're going to run it with license, maybe Visual Studio Enterprise or Visual Studio Professional. So I downloaded the community one, which is free. So once you have it downloaded, we're going to go ahead and install. It's going to take some time. So that's why double click on it. And once this pop up, we have to accept yes. And then you get the warning sign here. If you want to do that, yes, I'm accepting the terms and conditions. That's why you should not do it on a VM that does not have access to the internet, because you will not be able to do the downloads here. Once this pop up here, your screen is going to look different because I have it already installed 2022 or 2019, but I'm going to just show you, and then I will give room for someone to show me. We're going to do it again. I'll go on modify because I already have it. But for those who don't have it, you have this screen, right? This is the screen that you have if you're doing it the first time. What we need to add there is data storage and processing, right? We need to add this feature. Connect, develop, and test data solution with SQL Server, Azure, and data lakes or Hadoop. We need to add this. So once I click on it, here I have the option to download it, okay? Now, I already have it downloaded. I can do install while downloading or download then install. So just go install and then you click and it will download. It's already downloaded for me. That's why my screen looks like that. So let me stop sharing and have someone that has not done it. We'll do it together. Ade, please, can you share your screen?
Excuse me, sir. I'm just observing.
You are in read-only mode.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to because
Okay.
I need to go through.
All right. Munirai, do you mind sharing your screen?
I'm sorry, I'm not home. That's why I'm joining on my phone.
You want me to share? Okay, doctor, you want me to share?
All right, Michael, go ahead and share your screen. Okay, so it's still downloading for you, and once it's done downloading, it will install. So may I have to hold a little bit with you, Michael, to before we proceed. Let me have someone that already has this installed. Stop sharing, please. Anyone? All right, good, Olivier. Perfect.
I
So
already have
how,
it installed.
Yeah, so this is how it looks like. Once you have that installed, you're going to check that box, data storage and processing. And then on your right, it needs about 8.5 gig to install. That's quite a large file. So go ahead and click on install, please. It's going to take some time to install that. Oh, Michael, you were already installing it. So you were even a step ahead. Okay, so it will download and then install. Hopefully this happens in 5 minutes and we should be done. All right, stop sharing. All right, so what I was saying is that once this opens, once you're done installing, you're going to come back here and launch this. And once you launch this, Visual Studio 2019 opens, and then we're going to continue without the code. And once we're here, this is the Visual Studio, but we need that extension to be able to build our packages. So we need to go on extensions, click on extension, manage extensions. And then on the search, we're going to type integration. By the time we start typing, it will pop up. SQL Server Integration Services Projects. You can see the tick is there, meaning that I've already installed it. But if you were to click on it, you click and it will give you the option to download it. It's going to take another few minutes to download, and then we will install it before we can run our package. All right, pause here. Okay, so once you finish, you can go ahead and click Start Visual Studio. Give it a moment. It needs some time to install. Okay. So, okay. Now go ahead and click continue without the code. Okay. So once we're here, we're going to go on extensions here. Manage extensions. And then on the search, you can see it's already there. You don't even have to search. This is what we're looking for. Okay. So click on that and install it. Download. I don't know how long it's going to take, but this is the link I wanted to. I thought I copied this link, but apparently I did not copy it. So your internet is quite fast. It's done in less than 43 seconds. So we have to hold on. One thing that will happen to most of you is that it might prompt you to restart your server since the installation of Visual Studio before you can add this extension. If that is the case, you may have to restart before you come back to class. So let's just hold on and hopefully it won't ask you to restart. And while you are waiting for your extension, guys, you can see our communication branch is seriously posting on the WhatsApp, on the chat to help us reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Can we actually just do that? Can we take it as a duty to make sure that we take YouTube channel reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year? We're already at 942, guys. I think that this community is big enough to make that move happen. If you guys can just, if 100 of you that are in here can just dedicate to have just one friend, just one person. I know most of you have already subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. But if you have already done so, can you just give me just one friend, one, not two, just one friend to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It's our goal, and we really depend on you to help us do so. And we believe that you're going to do so. Thank you so much. All right, good. You can see it's already downloaded. Let's go ahead and open it. Okay, click OK. And click next. Install. Oh, there's something that's going to fail. I know what. Yes, it's going to fail. So click OK. Close every single window that you have, every single thing, the SSIS, Visual Studio, all this one on your taskbar. How to close it? Close this first. Just close this. Close it. Close
this one.
Close every single window. Start by closing this one that you started with. Close everything. Down here on your taskbar, all these windows, you have to close them. See, all those. Even that one, close it.
This one?
No, don't close that one for now. Now go ahead and click OK again. Let me see. Click OK. No, click OK now. Next. Install. You may. Okay, click OK. All right, you're lucky. It didn't ask you to restart. Okay, so we're going to hold on probably 3-4 minutes for the download package to complete. And once it's done, please restart your computer and come back in class. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Stop sharing, please.
No, please, I have a question why she's doing that.
Okay, so at this point, you have it already installed. You can literally run it even from the start menu. Just go here and type Visual Studio. You should be able to see it. You can see here I have Visual Studio 2019. So if I click on it, it will open. All right. So we are here. We have everything already installed. So the next thing that we need to do now, we're going to go ahead and create a project. Okay. So we're going to create a project and deploy it with our codes. So we click on create a project. Now, what kind of project we want to create? Go here and type integration. Now, there are so many different kinds of projects that you can do with this thing, right? You can literally, let me just go one step back and on create project, you can literally do so many things. Maybe I just want to install a database, right? You can use SSIS just to create a SQL Server database project. All right, a project for creating a SQL Server database. You don't want to really go in there and create. Remember, this is an application. Okay, because most of you always say, okay, what is an application? Now, this is an application. This application, which is Visual Studio, will make a connection to SQL Server. And that's why we needed SQL Server first before we can do this. Okay, so now you can literally use these to create a database in SQL Server. But that's not what we want today. We want an integration services project. What does this do? This project may be used for building high performance data integration and workflows. Workflow solution that can be used to run SSIS catalog, including extraction, transformation, and loading, ETL operation for data warehousing. Okay, in data warehouse, and you ask that question, that is generally what we do in data warehouse. Data is always going to be extracted somewhere. It's loaded into the data warehouse. Someone needs to run a report on the data warehouse. Means the data will be analyzed and reported using SSRS. So extracting, transformation, and loading gives you the SSIS. Then analyzing the data is the SSAS, and running reports and reporting out there is the SSRS part of the thing. So we're going to do this. This is what we need. So we click on this and we'll select next. I need to give a name for this project. So I'm going to call this one here a weekly webinar. SSIS project 1. You can select which location this data should go to. Most of you did SQL Server installation and you choose a drive here called a drive S. So you can also change the drive and you'll go to that drive. Okay. I do have a drive S already, but if you don't, you can leave the default location like that. I think I have a drive here called drive S, which is not true. I don't have a drive S. I have a drive. Oh, I do have it. Yeah, but it's too small. I can't put anything on it. I'll put it back on my drive C. It's almost full. So I'll put it back here on my drive C. So, and you see what I was telling you? A solution. Place, solution, and project in the same directory. All this goes into what is called a solution file, and you can actually export this solution file. Let's say after a migration, if you have an SSIS, there's also SSIS migration. Migrate SSIS packages from one server to another. You can do that. So we're going to leave this solution in the same folder, right? And then we'll go ahead and click create. So it's creating our first SSIS project. Okay, there you go. You have getting started. If you want to figure out, read more, you can open that. But we are here. This is the interface, what we're going to use for the entire SSI. So you've successfully installed and configure your SSIS environment. And now with this, you can begin to build your packages. You can use the same to deploy your packages and manage your packages in case they fail. Okay, let me pause here and do it one more time, then we can continue. All right. All right, guys. So we have now our interface. We've built our environment. Now it's time for us to start building our packages. Now, before we do that, let's actually understand something here. I talked to you guys about control flows, data flows, parameters, event handler, and package explorer. Now, this is how it looks like on Visual Studio. On control flow, when you click on control flow, you have a series of things that you can do. For example, you have data flow tasks, you have execute SQL tasks, you have bulk insert tasks, data profiling tasks, and so on. These tasks that you have here are various tasks that you are going to do throughout this training. Now, these are controlled by the control flow. For example, on a data flow task, I can, once I click on data flow task, I can decide and bring it into this field in here. And there are two ways in which I can do that. I can delete it. I can double click on it and it pops in here, or I can drag and drop. Okay. So on the data flow task, you have to define where is the data coming from. Okay. You can see it shows that data is moving from one point to another on data flow task. So, and you also have, let's say one of your tasks is to do just a SQL Server statement. You just want to run a SQL statement. Maybe the SQL statement is to, first of all, check how many rows are there in this. And the next step is, once I see that I have more than 1 million rows, extract some rows, send them here. You can use this task called execute SQL task, right? If you use execute SQL task, it will always show you how you can do that, okay? It's the same way you can pull and put it here, or just double click, and you have the task. Now, for every single task, we did mention that you have to apply good naming convention, meaning that you can't just have them here at execute SQL task, execute SQL task 1, 2, 3. You should give a name, maybe select top 100 rows, for example, maybe on this task, I want to, select all, select all tables, for example, and give it a name. So you can rename the tasks so that when you're working through your package, you're able to tell what is it, what's the task doing. Okay. Now, bulk insert tasks, you can do bulk insert. What if you are doing a bulk insert? What is the recovery model of the database? What should be the database set, recovery model be set to? Are they, if I'm doing a bulk insert on a table, how should I set the database recovery model?
It's set to simple, sir.
Sorry?
You said it should.
The recovery model of a database. If I want to do a bulk insert into a database, what should be the recovery model of a database?
Has to be full.
No.
Bulk
log.
Thank you so much. Right?
Yes.
You want to set your database into bulk log recovery model. If you are a task, if you're doing a bulk insert, and I can insert, I can rename this to I insert multiple record, for example. Rename it anyhow. Just make sure that you rename the task so that it doesn't just have like, because if I just click here, bulk log, it will just give me bulk log task 1, bulk log task 2, task 3, and it makes no sense to have it like that. Okay, you can highlight everything and delete. And so on, right? You can also have a task to send an email. You can even use SQL Server to send an email, meaning that you need an SMTP server integrated to be able to send email. You can even do a file system, right? Just do a file system or execute a task and so on. Now, on every control flow, once you put a control flow, you need to define the parameters. So to define that, you need to double click on it. Once you double click, it will ask you what you need to do on that control flow, on that task. For example, on this control flow, we know that control flow needs to have a data source. Where's the data coming from? And that's why you see down here, connection manager pops up and say there's no connection manager created. So you need to make sure you have the connection manager created before the control flow will work. The next one is data flow. And control flow will define the task. Data flow will tell you what actions you're actually doing. For example, on the control flow, on the data flow, you can have here, for example, maybe I need to insert data, right? Therefore means I need to get data coming from SQL Server. So I need an OLTP. On this, what are you seeing here is that, let me go back here. You have data sources, destination, and transformation. Okay. First, on data sources, what are the different data sources that SQL Server recognizes? We have an XML source, raw file, OLE, flat file, Excel, CDC, Adobe, and so on. And then you have on destination as well, right? Data mining, data reader, Excel, flat file, and so on. So this is how your data moves to once you move it. But in between the source and destination, there is a transformation. I can audit the data before I load it in SQL Server. I can do a change data capture splitter. I can copy maybe some columns. I may do data mining query. I might do a pivot query. I might do merge and so on, row sampling and so on. And once I transform the data, I can then go ahead and load it in the destination. It doesn't mean that every data has to be transformed. If you are picking data from SQL Server into SQL Server, there's no transformation needed. You don't really have to do so. Okay, so this is what we have here. And of course, parameter, if you start going more detail into this program, you'll learn what parameters are all about. I talked about event handler. You can use event handler to direct what will happen if the package was to fail. Should it error out? Should it be sent in progress? Should it complete as fail or as warning and so on? That information can go into the event handler, takes care of that. Package Explorer just tells you everything that you've done so far on the entire package. And if there's any error, you'll see it on the Package Explorer how to troubleshoot that. Okay, now down here, let's go back on control flow. Once you go on control flow, the first thing you have down here is connection managers. This is where the data is coming from, data source. You can create different connection managers, maybe from a SQL Server source, Oracle source, a flat file, Excel, any source based on the thing that I just showed you. On your right here, you have what is called Solution Explorer. And you need to really look at what this Solution Explorer is all about. Remember what I told you that when you build an SSIS package, it goes into a solution file. This is the solution file we just created called Weekly Webinar SSIS Project 1. Now, if you expand that, you're going to see first parameter. What are all the parameters that I talked about here? They'll be defined and they will be here. Connection manager. Are there any connection manager? Right now, we have not created any connection manager. If there was any, you're going to see it here. Now, SSIS package, every SSIS package has the extension .dtsx. If you change this extension, that package becomes unusable and you cannot use it. So under a solution explorer or solution file, you can create multiple packages. For example, if I right click here, I can say new package. And you see, right click here, new package. Right click here, new package. And you see every one, single one of them opens its own control flow, data flow, parameter, event handler. Every single one of this package is independent from one another. They don't mix. But you can see here, they all create, they are all created as package 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But does this make sense? No, because it means I literally have to open every single package here to verify what the package is all about. So we can rename these packages. Okay, so to rename a package, make sure that the extension is not tampered with. You need to keep the extension, otherwise the package is useless. So we right click on this and you have the rename. You see, it's make sure you don't remove the dot nor the extension. So I can call it here data import underscore Excel. Okay, dot DTXX. You will say, okay, I have to rename it. Yes, I need it for all the entire package. Now I have a package now called data import, and you can see it up here. I can go ahead and rename this other one here. Call this one here data import. Let's right click on this. You can just double click. It will also give you a chance to rename it. I'm doing that. Okay, maybe I just right click. Why is it doing that? It's freezing. Uh-oh. I lost it. I think I clicked too much. Let me go back again and open it. So first exercise, I want us to create packages. We're just creating random packages. So everything was broken. I think it was not saved because I had to save it. Normally you have to save it. You see, it's not saved, right? So I'm going to do it again. So under my solution, I have connection manager, I have my packages, control flows, any miscellaneous, link to Azure resources. We can use it to link to Azure resources as well as to Azure storage. For those who are doing Azure class, see everything now is integrated with Azure. Okay. Now let's go back here on our package, SSIS package. So right click on this and say new SSIS package. And I'm going to right click here and call this package data underscore import underscore Excel. Importing data from Excel file .dtxx. That's the extension. Yes, do that for all of them. Yes, and then you have to save it for this to maintain it. Okay, I have to save it. Now I have it here. Let's go ahead and create another one. I click new package, and it always creates it as a random package. You have to rename it. Data underscore import underscore SQL server. SQL. I'm importing data from a SQL server. Just going to import data from a SQL server to SQL server. Okay. All right. We have that. And let's create another one. I have to save it. Why is this thing freezing so much? Come on. Keep freezing. I didn't save the other one. Should have saved it first. The package .dg is missing. Yeah, the package has been. What is error missing? Skip. Okay. What do you mean? What's going on here? The previous session ended unexpectedly. Disabling this extension SQL Server integration package might help. Disable this extension. No, I don't want to disable it. I'm wondering why let me close the whole thing and reopen it. All right. SQL Server, Visual Studio. Is it happening for all of you guys like that? 2019. Okay. So this is the recent project we're working on, weekly webinar. So I can just click on it and it will open. something that's happening here. The package file package.dc is missing from the project directory. This package has been skipped. Trying to understand what is skip or skip and reinstall will continue. I don't get what it's saying. All right, let me do it again one more time. New package. Okay, and rename this package to data underscore import underscore SQL. Call it this time like that. It says this one already exists. Okay, so I'll call it. Yeah, I will just overwrite it. Import. Put your lines, please. Elvis, mute them. Import underscore data underscore import underscore SQL. Elvis, can you please help mute them for me? Mute everybody. Yes.
You muted yourself though.
All right. Okay, so I have the package here. Save it. Just create one if it's giving you multiple issues when you try to create multiple packages, but that should not be the case actually. So at this point here, we have a package created, right? But this package does not have any connection. So if we click on connection manager, we need to define where the data will be coming from. So let's go back here on our toolbox here that we have. That's my toolbox not disappearing. What am I doing this today? View toolbar. Okay. This is messing me up very badly. Some reason is, let me close this. Yes, save that. Open it one more time. I know why it's doing this. Open. If you give it, I'll just create another project. So know why this one keeps failing. So create a new project. And of course, it's an integration project. Okay, next. And just call it weekly webinar. Project 2. All right, leave it in the same location and create it. All right, we're back here. Good. So on this package, I'm just going to rename this package to data underscore insert. call from SQL Server. I'm getting this data from SQL Server. And yes, this file has been unsaved. Yes. I'll give it some moment. Something is wrong with mine. Can I have someone else share the screen? I don't know why it keeps breaking. Mary, do you mind sharing your screen? It keeps freezing and breaking. That's
Doc, mine is failing. I don't know why. Let me just share.
Share your screen. Let me see. I don't know why it keeps failing and breaking. And it's complaining about the package is missing now. The whole thing. I don't know why it's doing this.
Can you see that?
Hold on. Yes. That's the name you gave.
I tried different names since the first one was the default was failing.
You don't have to change the location, right? You just have to give a name for the project and create the project. You don't have to alter anything down there.
It wasn't going with the default.
Can you just cancel it and do it again? All right, select integration service project. Put a weekly webinar.
Is that
Weekly webinar project 1. No space. You guys know that naming conventions should not have spaces. All right, great.
listen? Station.
Microsoft Data Transform Services, please. When you did the integration services project, did you restart your computer?
No, I haven't.
You have to restart it. I thought everybody should restart it before they move on, right?
I'll stop sharing.
You need to stop sharing and restart. Let me have someone that actually restarted. Michael, I know you restarted your computer after doing that. Can you share your screen?
I think mine is working, Doctor.
All right, Vitus, please go ahead and share your screen. Okay, good. Yes, I see you already renamed the packages here. All right, so we're just going to work on one of the package that you rename. Let's start with the first one, data input SQL. Click on that package. Okay, so we are that. So you can clearly see here, once he clicked on the package, that the package is showing up here. That's the package that we're working on. And it has a data flow, control flow, data flow, and everything linked to that package. But before we go in there, we need to create connection managers. If you check down here, there is no connection manager created for this package. So we're going to click on it and we're going to create connection manager. Remember what I said, connection manager establish where the data is going to, and then where the data is coming from and where it's going to, from source to destination. That's what connection managers explain to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and create connection manager for our source. Click on that.
Where do I click? I click down here and nothing happens.
You have to right click at the bottom there to select connection manager. Right click in here, just right click. Just right click. Yes. Okay. So what kind of connection are we looking for? We want an OLDB connection, right? SQL Server as an OLDB data source. That's the kind of connection we want. We can also create a connection for flat file and so on. So let's select that one. All right. So here we need to establish where the data is going to come from. So click on new. New. Good. Now leave this one like this. Let's go on your SSMS. Let me see what instances you have on your SSMS. Just open your SSMS. No, SSMS, please. This one. Okay, so at least you have a database. That's good. I wanted to make sure you have one. I have an instance here called tests. Okay, and it's vitals/tests as the instance name. And we want to make a connection to this. We want to make a connection to this SQL Adventure Web 2019. So we'll create a connection manager to extract data from this. And do you have any other instance?
That is the only one I have for now.
Ouch. I would have loved to. Okay, anyway, we're going to just extract the data from this and put it back on a different database under the same instance. It would have been nice to extract from a different instance and put in a different instance. Okay, so let's go back to Visual Studio. Just leave this one and go to Visual Studio. Don't close it. Okay, so here we need to provide what kind of connection we want to. We have not created any connection. So here we need to provide a server name and use what type of authentication do you want to authenticate. So you are seeing now, this is Visual Studio making a connection to SQL Server. You're establishing a connection manager from Visual Studio to SQL Server. That will create a connection string to that. So down here, since you don't have, you just need to type here your username your computer name / the instance name, vitals / test. But now, once you do that, you can do it either these connections you establish via Windows authentication, click on the drop-down menu, or it can also happen via SQL Server authentication. You can do that. Okay, so I'll leave it like that. And on the select a database, it will already find the database. You can see it's already looking at the database that you have on SQL Server. And we want to make a connection to the database Adventure Work. So select Adventures Work and click test connection to make sure the connection works. Test it. Succeeded. So it's actually succeed to connect. So this application is connecting to SQL Server successfully. Click OK. And then click OK. Right? Now, what are you seeing here? You can see the data connection that is established here. And this is what goes on a connection string, guys. When we say we need a connection string, this is what goes in connection. So here we have the username and password, the database name, and so on. So go ahead and click OK. And you can see down here a connection string, a connection manager has now been established. If you were to refresh up here, click up here and refresh connection managers. Refresh it. Refresh button is up here. Did you refresh? No, you have to click on connection manager before you refresh. Refresh it. Okay. I think once you open it, it will show up. It will show up under connection manager. Okay, so at this point here, I need to create a destination source, right? Need to create another connection manager to the destination. So let's go back. Let's create another connection manager. I'm assuming that data is going to come from here, and I'm going to move the data to a different destination. So let's create another connection manager. New, no, you have to right click a new, okay. So let's add a new. And type the server name back here. If you have different instances, I would have asked you to type a different instance here. All right, with database. Now, you have also the option to attach a database file directly if you do not have it, but you can go ahead and select any database that is empty. Do you have an empty database there?
I don't think if any of those are empty.
Can you just go back to SSMS and create a new empty database? Just call it SSIS project. Call it SSIS project. SSIS project. All right, go back to Visual Studio. Don't close it, Excel. We need that. Okay, drop down menu. Did you close it? All right, it may not have refreshed. Click on refresh up here, please. Go back again and look for databases. Hold on. Taking too long. Cancel that. Check again. All right.
Yeah.
It's not. Just cancel it. Let's just create a new connection. Just cancel this. Cancel this. Don't click OK. I asked you not to click OK. No.
Oh,
You already created a connection. Delete that connection, please.
Where
No,
is
he
it?
might have to refresh his databases as well.
It's down here. Click that and delete that. The database is there. It's there. I can see it. Go back to Visual Studio. This connection, yes, this connection manager is just create the core vitals test. Right click and delete it. You not create it, right?
Do you want me to delete this one?
Right click and delete that one, please. Delete that. Let's recreate it again. We're creating a destination connection manager. Delete what you have up there. Delete it. No, right? Cancel. Delete that. Thank you. Create a new. Type the name one more time. All right, check the databases now. You should see it now. Okay, there you go. All right, click OK. Now you can also rename these, right? These connection managers, if you want to rename them. But since you can see that it has the server name and it has the database name in there, you don't necessarily need to rename it. But if you wanted to rename it, you can rename it. Let me pause here right now and answer a few questions concerning how to create a connection manager. Those who are having issues, stop sharing. Let me have Laura share her screen and ask her question. All right, so at this point here, we already have our connection managers created down here for our source to the destination. So what I need to do right now, I just need to copy a record from the source and I will move it to destination. So in order for us to do that, we have to go back here on Flora. I see that you did not rename your package. I wanted to rename the package. Right now we are on package. Right click on rename the package. Call it data insert. No, that's not the package you're working on. You're not working on package one. You can see this. You see that's not the right one. You see on package one, you don't have package one doesn't have connection managers, right? Did you just see that? Go back to package one. Go back to package one. Here, you can click on it here. Up here. If you click on it, you see that there's no connection manager created. Just to let you know that these packages are completely isolated from one another. So click on that package one, the package, there you go. You have our connection managers. So I want you to rename the package. Data insert. Okay, just click outside the box. And yes. Yes. Okay. Click on save so that it saves this. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. Now we're going to start with a data flow task. So let's pull data flow task. No, data control flow task, sorry. On control flow task, we're going to select data flow task. That's what I mean. Drag it to the right. There you go. Perfect. Now on the data flow, we are going to, this is data flow task. So click on that, double click on it. Okay. So you can see there is once we do it, everything will show up here. But right now we have not configured anything. Okay, so let's go back on data flow task. So okay, so click on data flow task. Where's the one that you just created? Did you just remove it? Okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. On the data flow task, so we need a data flow task. That's what we need. Okay. And what we need here is that we're going to go on data flow or data flow. Go on data flow. All right. You see, there's nothing that shows up here, but we have different data sources. So let's go now. Minimize it so we can look for data sources. Here on the left.
Oops.
Okay, what kind of data source we're looking for? We want, and let's see here. I wanted to minimize this so I can see the sources. There you go, expand sources. Okay, so I'm pulling data from an OLDB. So pull the OLDB, drag it. Good. You see, once you drag it and drop, it just shows you a red sign and you need to configure it. Now, let's double click on that. All right, it tells you, okay, where's the data coming from? Let's go ahead and select our source. I don't believe that you are working on the same package that you created the thing on. Hold on. Click OK. Click up here on connection manager. Why is it not seeing the connection manager you just created? Or you can just go ahead and click on new, and select one of the one that you created. Select one of the control. Yes, select one of the, yes, correct. Click OK. All right. So connection manager, that's where I'm getting the data from. Now you can select certain tables that I want to move on the view tables or views. Click on drop down menu. I want tables or view, but there's other things that maybe you just want to run a SQL command on that table and so on. But what I need is the tables and the view. That's what I need. So let's take tables and views. No, not tables and view variable. Tables and view. What was there before? Table or view. Table or view. All right. Drop down menu. Next one. All right. These are all the tables that you have on the Adventures work. Let's get this table called person to person. Person to person. That one. Okay. Perfect. Now, we on the left side, I have columns. Click on columns to show you all the columns that you are getting. All right. Here you have the option to even change. If, let's say, your column name is data person type, and later on don't want it to look at this person type, you have the option to change it and so on. But right now we don't want that. We just want to see the columns that are there. Just click OK. So on the source, that is exactly what I want to extract. I just want to extract that table. Okay. So if you click on top of that data flow task, or click on it, you see that there are two arrows that pop up. Click on top of this. If you select it, you see there are two arrows, one blue and one red. Now you can configure both of them, as well as you may configure just one. Now you hold the blue one and drag. You can drag it down. Just click on that blue one. Yes, just leave it. Leave it there. No, leave it. Click and leave it. No, release it.
I did.
No, it means you're not holding. You have to hold on top of that arrow. All right, because there's nothing is linked to, so that's fine. Leave it.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go on the destination on the left. Can you do escape on your keyboard? Escape. Okay. Go to the left of destination. Destinations here. Expand that destination. You have, I'm also taking this to an OLDB destination, so drag it and drop it. All right. Now I can decide and rename this, where this data is coming from, because it just said OLDB source. I can say import, let's rename that destination. Import person.person. No, I didn't ask you to double click. Right click and rename it. Rename. Import person.person table. Or import person table. Okay. Good. So that's just the name of where the data is coming from, right? I want to change that. Now you can now that arrow.
Did you hear that?
Can you guys, Elvis, can you help me muting these people?
Did I take you?
What error message pop up? I didn't see the error message.
No.
It cannot contain any of the characters like space or dot. Or just put import. Connor, can you please mute your line, please, and stop on mute? I've been muting you and keep on muting yourself. Thank you.
I just muted her.
All right. All right. Good. Hold that blue arrow and drag it and drop it on the destination. Hold the blue arrow and drag it, drop it up on there, drop it there. Okay. You can even hold that destination and drag a little bit down. Okay. All right. So that's just what we call a precedence, right? This destination will be expecting what is coming from this. Now we've already configured the import. We need to configure the destination. So double click on that. All right. Now where's the data coming from? You probably might not see it there, so you have to go on new. Cancel and click on new. New. And select the destination. Where's the data coming from? Is it coming from prod or staging?
It's coming from staging.
Prod.
And it's going to prod.
Okay, good. Go on the drop that menu. Drop that menu below. That one, yes. Okay, there's no table. So what we can do right now is that if you click on new, all right, you can see clearly that it is picking the data. It can create, you see that the same information that you had up there is in here. So you could as well create that table, or you allow it to create that table in the destination server. It's create a table called destination. So click OK. All right. So it's going to go on that destination server and it will create inside this database called SSIS DB, and it will create this. If you wanted to change the data types and whatever, you can do it before, but it will create that. So it will mean that it's pulling the data from here, no, sorry, from the other database called Adventures Work and inserting it into this. And it's going to name it destination DB. If you click on mapping, you will see how it maps the database. Click on mapping. You can clearly see business entity ID is mapped to business entity ID. So everything is mapped equally, right? From source to destination. You have the option to change the names if you wanted, or if I wanted to map person type to maybe last name, I can do that. This to this, I can do that. But then if you start doing that, you need to start transforming the data for it to work. Here, we're just doing a simple extraction We just extract from the SQL Server and load it back into SQL Server. That's all we want to do. Okay. All right. Click OK. And you can clearly see that there's no more error. You can go ahead and execute the package. Up here, this is where you execute the package. Click on Start. And if there's any error, you will see that error on the what we call Package Explorer. You see it's running it, and it's telling you it's extracting about 8,600. See the number of rows being extracted showing up here. So that table, and now it checks this green light. It therefore means that the table has been extracted. Now, if you go back to SSIS, and let's check that table that you created, the table that you created, expand that. Expand the database you just created, which was empty. Expand table. Bingo, you have it here. You can right click and let's see whether there's any data inside. Is that how you read data? Is that how you read if there's data inside a table? No, Flora. How do you read if there's data inside a table? Flora, unmute yourself. Now you're muted, huh? Just do select top. That's what I wanted to do.
Select what? Top 1000.
Looks like when you guys leave SQL just for one day, SQL is leaving you completely. Right? Select top 1000. You can see the table is not empty. Right? So what have you just done? We've just done a migration. Most of the time I work, you guys say, okay, I want to export data. You can literally use an SSIS package and just move data from one source to another. This is a very simple SSIS package. We don't have so much time, but I'm going to actually go on this example to show you exactly so many things that you have to do with this package as far as database administrator is concerned. If I can't show you everything, I might have to pull this to another session and we'll play a little bit with these packages so you guys can get to see it. So stop sharing. So your package work. While I'm doing it with another person, you can test another package and see how it works. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me pause this. All right. Good. Now we're going to pull that to the right.
This one?
Yes, please. Okay. Once you do that, you have to now configure it. So double click on it. Double click, please. All right. Now, in your case, you did not create data connection manager. So we're going to create the connection manager along with this. So either you do it before or do it right now. So just click on new and click on new. You see, when Flora was doing that, how all the control manager that she has created was there. She could just select. But since you have not created connection manager, sorry, you have to do it afresh. All right. Do you know the server name and the instance name you want to connect to?
IFAC prod.
Edgar, I'm going to do something for you because I know that you don't have any database. Do you have? No, you guys have not started your training. You don't have any database. So let's do this. Open. Just keep this the way it is right now. Don't close anything. Don't close anything. Open SSMS. Sorry, open Chrome. Open Chrome. Go up here and just type SSMS sample database. Just type in there Adventures Work sample database. Adventures Work, Adventure, AD. Adventure Work sample database. I need to download database for you so we can do this. Okay. Enter. All right. Open this link. Which version of SQL Server are you dealing with?
2019.
All right, scroll down. Let's look for 2019 database. There you go. Hold, stop here. Stop here. For those who ask me a question, what is data warehouse and what is data warehouse is just a kind of database. So you can see here, this is Ventures work for data warehouse. I don't want that. I need one for an OLTP database, online transactional processing database. That database changes quite often. Let's click on that 2019 and download it. All right, it's downloading. Let's just hope that it goes fast. Yes, 49 seconds, that's fine. Edgar, I'm taking you 3 months into your training. That's fine. Don't ask me too many questions on this. I just want a database on your instance, okay?
Okay, okay.
All right, it has already been downloaded. So click on that, don't open it, just click on that and take you to folder. Click on that up arrow, up, show in folder.
Okay, I'll take it from the another screen.
Copy it from that screen. Yeah, copy that. Copy that.
This one?
Yes, copy it. That's where you download it. Copy. Did you copy?
Yeah.
Now click on your drives. Let me see one of your drives that you created. The drives, please. This PC. An open backup drive. Open that. Open prod. Paste it here. Paste it here. Good. Go back to SSMS. SSMS, not configuration manager.
Okay. This one.
Good. Did you close it? Wasn't open. Okay.
Okay, it's on another.
Can you
It's
bring it on
another.
this screen, please?
Okay, right away.
Connect to that prod. That's fine. Connect. All right. Click on databases. Right click on databases. Right click. Restore database. And then on here, click on device. And then click on this little ellipsis button here. Click on add. And then here, select prod. That's it. Okay, good. Select it. That's it. It's already here. Click on it.
Okay.
Click OK. And click OK. Click OK. All right, click OK. Database restored. Now you have a database in here. Right click on database.
Right click here.
On the database, no, on the database you just create restore. Right, click on that. Select properties. Now, take care of all the noise, please. Thank you. And then you can go on file. Put here under owner SA, please. The database came from online. You don't have owner SA. Lower cases. Thank you. Click OK. Connect to another instance. Just connect to another instance. Don't disconnect. Just connect to another instance. Do not disconnect. Add one more instance. Edgar, just stay there. Just drop that menu and select another instance. Maybe dev, for example. Okay, connect. Open that database. Let's create a database they're called SSIS. Right click on databases, new. Call it SSIS DB _ prod project. for project. SSIS DB underscore project. And give an owner SA. Guys, we'll end this class at 11 o'clock because I'm not SA. All right, click OK. Good. So we have that empty database. So this is going to be your source, and this is your destination. We're moving data from prod through SSIS package, and we're going to load it into this dev. Okay, perfect. Let's go back to Visual Studio. All right. So on your data connection, cancel this. Let's start it one more time. Cancel. Just cancel this. All right. Click on new, new, new again. Now type that the server name / the instant prod. The server name was quite long. Make sure you don't make a mistake. Prod. We're taking it from prod. Good. We're using window authentication to establish that connection. Go on databases. Select Adventures Work. Perfect. Click OK. So now we've created a source connection manager, right? I see that here. All right. Click OK. And then on this, we're going to select a table, one table that we want to extract. All right, so click on this, drop down menu, and let's select this table, person to person. That's the biggest table that I have in here. Okay, select that. And then click OK. You have this preview that is there. You can always preview if you want to preview if everything is fine. You have that option. So right now you've successfully defined where the data is coming from. Now I need to define what do I need to do with the data once I extract it. Yes, what else? I need to go on destination. So expand destination on the left. And then move that drag OLDB destination to the right. Okay, now connect both from up down. Click on the source and drag the blue arrow. Click on the source. Click on that. Just click once. Hold that blue arrow and drag it to that. You have to click on it first. Hold that, then drag and drop on it. Good. Now click on the destination. Let's configure it. When you see this X sign, it means that it has not been configured. If you run this, the package will fail. Okay. All right. So now we need to establish a connection to the destination. So click on new. No, not that new, please. Cancel this. You first have to create a connection manager. New one. We need to establish a new connection manager. Type that server name there, the instant name. You're taking it to dev. Good. On the databases, we're going to select the database that we created, which is that one. All right, click OK. Okay, click OK. Perfect. Now on the date the tables, if you click on new, not that one, the new on the table. You have this OLEDB destination. You can change the database name, right? So click on that. Let's change the database name. Let's just call it person. inside here where you have that OLE, just click down and delete that. No, don't delete everything. Just replace that OLE DB to person. Let's call it person. No, without removing the square bracket, please. Put the square bracket. Control Z will take you back. Control Z. Control Z, please. All right. Call it person. All right. You could rename it. You don't have to maintain the name that is there. If there's any data name here, all these column names that you want to change, you have the option to change it. All right. So if I want to maintain it like that, that's fine. Okay. Go ahead and click OK. On the left here, you have the option to view the mappings. How is it mapped from source to destination? And you can clearly see here, it's mapped evenly. Right? If you want to change anything, you can change, but this is not what we want to do right now. Click OK. All right, you see the X sign disappears. Therefore means that our package has been configured successfully. Go ahead, let's run the package up here. You can run the package up here. Where you have start, execute the package. But when you run the Package Explorer opens, and you can clearly see here, if you like, you hold on and you're going to see it extracting data. See, it's running. And you see that this number of rows are being extracted from source to destination. And once the blue tick, it shows that it has been extracted. This debug, if there was an error message, you see this progress here, you can click on it and it will show you what is wrong. Click on that. And it shows you the entire history of what has been going on. If there's any error on your package, this is where you're going to fish that error and you can use that to solve the problem. So let's go back to data flow. Hold on. All right, you guys stop sharing. Your screen is freezing. Let me get someone else. That is exactly what you're supposed to do. All right. Flora, do you mind sharing your screen again? So at this point, is there any question before we go ahead to manipulate with the? Is there any question?
Well, I have the issue. I just need you to help me out and I'll continue with the rest.
All right. But first of all, before I start troubleshooting the issue, I want to at least have this deployed into SQL Server for us to really see that what we're doing works. All right. So right now, when you execute your package, you can see that in the execution window, you cannot manipulate anything on the data flow because right now it's on the execution process. And unless you stop it, you cannot make any change. So right now it works successfully, but if you want to modify anything on the data flow, it will not work. So go ahead and click on this stop, the red sign here, and we'll stop it. The red sign up there. Perfect. Once you stop it now, you can now come back here and do any changes that you want to do. Now, if you click on this execution right now, it's going to fail. Please go ahead and run it again. No, but that's not where you execute it. Execute is up here, please. It will fail because the table already exists, except it overwrites. Maybe it will just overwrite. Oh, it actually overwrites, or it just add more data. You see, when we run the table for the first time, we had 19,000 record, right? Go back to SSMS and do select star on that. Do select star on that table. Let's see. Expand that. Okay. Let's read the data. because this one will show you top 1,000 record. It doesn't show you all the record. Delete everything here and type select star from that table. Just delete on this field. Let's do select star, select star, select star from, where is it from? Select star from. You can literally just drag and drop now, just like you did. The from was missing. But that from is too close to the star. You have to move it a little bit. Run that. Remember, initially when we ran it, we had 90,000 record, right? Run it again. It's running. What do you have? 39,000 record. Because you're just dragging record, just dumping it there. It's not creating a new table. The SSIS package is just to do what? Extract data and run it and put it in. Go back to Visual Studio, run the package one more time. You have to stop it before you run it. Stop it. Okay, run it again. Okay, go back to SSMS. Run that select statement. How many records do we have now? 59,000 records. So what you're seeing is that it's just dragging data from the source and putting it in that destination, so long as you run the packet. So, but you could be doing other stuff with this, but I'm just giving you an example. So you see that the data, so for example, let's just say new data is coming in and you want to drag the data. Once you start knowing how to manipulate data, you could say, write some parameter in such a way that once it goes to pull the data, the old data that was there before, don't pull it. Because right now what is happening is that it's pulling all the data and adding. It's just taking the data and adding. So this record, you will see that you will have a lot of duplicate records if you really look at the results that are here. So, but now, how do you now get this information? We have this information running in Visual Studio, deploying it into SQL Server. But how can we get this into SQL Server and scale it as a job so that the job is not executing by Visual Studio? Because what is happening here is that for me to add the record, I need to go back to Visual Studio and run it. But that's not how it works at work. The Visual Studio developer or SSIS developer, whether you are the one doing it or you guys are doing it together, they develop the package and they give you the package. You will deploy the package and the package will be running in SQL Server. The agent jobs will now be running the packages in SQL Server, no longer going back to Visual Studio to deploy it. How can we do this? Let's go back to Visual Studio. All right, and stop the job. Stop it. Okay. Now we have the package, and this package here is called data insert, right? Right click on that. Right click. And then you have the option to say deploy this package. Because let's say you are an SSIS developer, you're done with your job, everything is fine, confirmed it's working well. Now you want to deploy it now into production. This is where the job will be running permanently. Okay. Now this deployment can go into any other server, but but for it to work on a server, there must be SSIS installed on that server. So we can click deploy package. All right, the wizard opens. And click next. It's an SSIS package in SQL Server. You have the option to deploy in Azure. You have the option to deploy in Azure Synapse. You can see everything is integrated with Azure, every single thing. But we just deploy it in SQL Server. That's what we want to do. Go ahead and deploy in SQL Server. Next. All right, which SQL Server do you want to deploy it to? Now let's just put it back in that prompt. All right. And connect. Perfect. All right. Now, since we are doing it for the first time, you have to go on browse. Let's select. You can see here an integration service catalog was not found on the server. To deploy a project in this server, you must create SQL Server integration catalog. Open the catalog dialog box from the integration catalog node. Click OK. So it cannot deploy it in prod because there's no integration catalog created on that. And you guys are going to deal with this a lot. Like you work in the team and the SSIS team now done with the deployment, they want to deploy it into SQL Server. That comes back to you now. You on the other side, you have to make sure that you prepare the environment ready for the SSIS package to be deployed. Okay. Now let's go back to SQL Server where we need to deploy the package on. Keep this one, close it. And in this SQL Server, which is prod, if you scroll down, you're going to see what is called Integration Service Catalog. That's it here. Okay, expanded. By default, Integration Service Catalog has a database called SSIS DB. That's why I asked you guys not to name your database like that. So if you right click on that Integration Services Catalog, it will ask you to create a catalog because there's no one. You cannot be deploying packages on a server that doesn't have any catalog. We need to create one and then we can deploy. Go ahead and create it. There you go. So to create and use this catalog, CLI integration must be enabled on the server. Go ahead and enable it. And this is what I told you. It will create a database called SSISDB. In an interview, how can I use this information ready? You can explain this to them. Like one of my jobs as a database administrator is actually to create environment ready for my SSIS to be deployed. One of the projects that I worked on, you can just explain everything that we're doing here today as a project. If someone asks you a question, do you have any experience with SSIS? Explain this from the installation, downloading the packages, then creating a Visual Studio, installing it, and then creating these simple packages, and then using this package to deploy. This is what we're doing right now. We're about to deploy the package that we created, Visual Studio, into SQL Server. Once we deploy it, what are we going to do with it? We're going to explain what we can do with it. But during the deployment of a package, you need to make sure that the SQL Server Integration Catalog database is created. By default, the name is SSISDB. You need to provide, because this database is encrypted, right? You need to provide a password and make sure you do not forget this password. I've been in a situation where a user deployed this SSIS and forgot this password. And forget this password, every single package that was ever deployed here is done. You have to make sure you go back to Visual Studio and redeploy this package here before it ever works. All right, put password 1 as our regular password, please. Good?
Yes.
All right, perfect. We're not going to enable this as SSIS KLAS master. That's more complicated. Just go ahead and click yes. Okay.
Do we enable it?
No, we don't enable it. Click OK. All right. Now you can see Integration Services Catalog SSIDB is created on the left. If you expand that, you see there are no packages right now because we have not deployed any package. Once we deploy the package, they will show up here. All right, perfect. Let's go back to Visual Studio. And now browse. You should be able to see it now. Browse, please. See, it shows you now. All right. Now I can create folders to better manage my work, right? It's create folder because you may have different packages coming in. This one, create a folder. I want to better manage my work. Just call that folder SQL insert.
SQL what?
Inserts or SQL import, I will call it. All right. Perfect. Right. So now you have that. Okay. All right. So select new project because their folders have to sit in project. We're going to call this project here data insert. That's a project that we are putting everything on this under that project. And click OK now. All right. Now, once we deploy our package, how did you call our package? We call it data insert SQL, right? That data will go into this SSIS DB, into a folder called SQL import, and a project called data insert. That is how you use it to organize your work. So all this we created here is just to organize your work and isolate different packages that are deployed under different projects. Click on next now. All right, everything looks good. Deploy. Bingo, close it. Now you're done deploying a package that was created in SSIS into SQL Server. Now, if you go back to SQL Server, you should see the package that we created there. Refresh it, please. Expand that. There you go. You can see the folder they created called, that was the folder, expanded folder, and an expanded project that we created. Expanded project. And you can see the data insert. That was the, and then expander. This is our package. Unfortunately, with this naming, I should not have named this data insert. I should have given a different name. But you see that this is the database, this is the folder, and the project is called data insert, and the package is under the project called also data insert. Maybe we would have called this data insert project, and then the package itself. So if you create multiple packages, now you can deploy them now and figure out a way to filter the packages so that you don't get messed up. For organizational reasons, you use this. So it is here now. It's no longer in SSIS. You can right click on that package and deploy it directly from here. Right click on it. The package. Right click. So the package you created, that's the name of the right click on the package. You see the option execute. Go ahead and execute it. Hold on first. All right, it's ready. Click OK. All right. Now you're running the package now directly here. It has started. The operation 3 has started. Click yes. Would like to report it? Yes. Okay. It's going to give you a report if it runs successfully. And from this report, you can look at it. Okay. The report provides an overview of the package tasks and parameters, including execution and validation. Scroll down. You can see, did it fail, succeeded, and so on. You can clearly see here that it succeeded, right? It did not fail. These are the packages that we created, and so everything looks good. Now, if you go back to SSMS and run that select statement, you see that the number of records have changed. SQL Server is here, Flora. This is where run this select statement again. Watch the number of records. See, changing. Now, remember in the past, we were executing this package in Visual Studio. Now we've deployed it into SQL Server and we're able to run it directly inside SQL Server. Now, this is where your activity as a database administrator is coming in very, very strong, because I need to be able to have my packages on my SSIS server, be able to deploy the packages. Now, you did it manually. Do it again one more time, please. Run the package again. Want to report yes or no? It's running. You can see right now it's running. Now you're done. Are you refreshed up here? Yeah, now it's done. Succeeded. Now go back to SSMS and check whether the records have changed.
Yes.
But you're doing it manually. Are you going to be running this package every single morning, wake up and then come and write, execute? No, we don't want that. That's where SSIS agent jobs come into place. How do you create agent jobs, not just regular job, but create agent jobs on SSIS? You can create an agent job that will execute an SSIS package. So let's go on the server. We're going to create an agent job. I will schedule that job to run this SSIS package maybe every morning, or if this was a report and we want to run it every Friday, we can go ahead and schedule an agent job that will run that task for us. All right, let's go on agents and let's create a job. Guys, I'm going to repeat this. I want to have it on tape so that I can help those who are having issues. New job. Want to create a job. Let's call it job weekly report. Weekly report. I don't know why you like putting space every single time creating stuff. If you need, you can put underscore if you want to do something. Hold on, don't rush. You can put an underscore if you need to have the space. Weekly underscore report. Weekly underscore SQL insert report. Let's do it that way. SQL insert report. Okay. Now, are you supposed to own a job?
No, SA.
Why?
Because it's not for me, it's for the company.
If you leave the company, this job will start failing because you were the owner of the job. If this account is deleted, that job will start failing. So you have to be SA. Now, category, what kind of job we want to run? Let's go and drop that menu. And scroll down. Let's look for, let's see what kind of job is, let's just call this job here, what am I going to call it? Let's leave it uncategorized for now. All right. Okay. Now the steps. What are the steps in this job? We need to schedule the steps. Let's go to steps, and then add a new step. This is where the magic comes in. Call it weekly report. All right. Now, what are we doing? It says here, you can say it's T-SQL. We don't want to run a T-SQL. So in the drop down menu, we need to look for SSRS, SQL Server Integration Services Package. That's the kind of job we want to create. Perfect. Okay. Now, and where is this package coming from? This is where you have to put the server. On the drop down menu, let's look for the server. Sorry for those who are dropping. I know it has taken us a little bit long. You can watch this on YouTube channel and follow up from there if you missed it. Preferably, Flora, you should have just typed the name of the server in there. It doesn't like that. While we're holding up and see. Simplist, you have a question, please. Go ahead. Sorry?
We have loaded the package. We have loaded.
Please, you really need to get a mic though, because I'm having difficulties hearing you. All right, Flora, click OK now. Specify package before setting the package option. Yes, click OK. All right. No, go back again. We did not select the package. No, double click on this and open it one more time. No, not a new one. Let's edit that. Click on it, let's edit. We did not select the package. Yeah. Go on the drop down menu again. Let me see. When you click OK, it doesn't. The package should pop up here. Type the name again. Let's see. Perfect. And then click on this here to see the packages. There you go. Expand that. Expand, please, until you find the package. And if you have multiple packages deployed on this, you can select which package you want to schedule this job with, and then use it. So right now you can see this job, once executed, will run this SSIS package, and we don't have to manually go in there and run the job again by ourselves. Click OK. All right, let's just go on schedule. When do we want this job to run? Schedule. Just click new and put package runtime. Give the name. Probably weekly report. Since we're in class and we want to see this, we're going to put this to run every 1 minute, just so we can see it. Select this. And change this to minutes. And then let it run every 1 minute, just so we can see it, right? And then click OK. But at work, you will have to schedule it based on how often or how frequently you want this job to run. Click OK. Why are you changing it to the 9? Is today the 9 already?
No, I'm ending it for tomorrow. That way it's not gonna run forever.
Oh, okay, okay. Perfect.
Though it seems like they check just the Sunday. Only Sunday is checked.
Can you go back again? Let me see. Edit. No, it's not running. Oh yeah. Change this from weekly to daily. Sorry, daily. Okay, so you don't need to see that. That was good. Good catch. Click OK. And click OK now. And our job now has been scheduled. Expand. Let's see the jobs. Expand agents and expand jobs. You can see the job is somewhere there. Where is it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to wait for 1 minute, right? Let's run the job on demand. Start it. Let's see whether it succeeds. Succeed. Okay. Close. Now we have 99,000 record here. Let's run this one again. Let's see how many records we have now. See? So every minute this job will run, and that concludes your job as a database administrator. This is how this works, right? From creating packages, installing the environment, creating packages, deploying these packages, using packages to schedule them as job, and then troubleshooting these packages when they fail. Run the job one more time, please. Run it again. Okay, let's check whether the record indeed is increasing. And it's increasing. All right, now let's go back under the catalog. Let's see the package that we have in here. Let me show you one last thing before we go to the expand catalog. Okay, right click on the SSIS. You have the option to go on report. Go to report, reports, standard reports, integration services, dashboard. If you come to work as a DBA, you have jobs. Some of the jobs are SSIS packages, and you can come here and check. Like, okay, I have all my SSIS packages How many of them are running? You see right now it's currently running. How many run times in the last 24 hours? Have any of them failed? And so on. So during interviews, I'm talking about all those things. Like, okay, one of the things that I do is that I schedule my jobs, my packages, and I review this on a daily basis in case any packages fail on the SSIS catalog dashboard. I'm able to see which packages have failed. I will either troubleshoot it or work hand in hand with SSIS developers in my team to be able to troubleshoot these packages and will resolve them. You see that? This is how you build talking points on the, rather than just saying in the interview, I have no SSIS experience. No, you can say this. And if I only have to explain what we've done today, I can talk for more than 30 minutes. And if they have to now start going deeper into SSIS and asking you questions, that moment you can pull back and say, well, my experience in SSIS is limited. So far, I've only been able to deploy simple packages into my production environment, schedule them as job, troubleshoot them when a problem happens, and fix it appropriately, either alone or with my team. Leave it there like that. Another thing that you can see here, instead of looking at report, if you right click again on that SSIS DB, and then go down to report, standard report, you can see all execution. Let's see all execution. And you can see, so this is how you come in the morning and check. You can see clearly that this is the packages, the status. 12 of them have succeeded. You can look through everything, play with this, see what time it ran, how long it took, what was the package name, the project name, the folder name, things like that. And that is how you troubleshoot these things when they are failing. If ever this SSIS package failed, it's going to show you here and you can literally look at it. Let's click on execution performance. Execution performance. On any of them. Execution performance, this one. And you can clearly look at it and see the duration. Let's say a package used to run between 8 seconds, and suddenly it starts running, it's not taking this long. This is the time for you to start troubleshooting. Performance tuning does not only end in everything, guys. Even right down here, you can use this to begin to troubleshoot why things are running differently. For example, look at the duration here and how long this package takes to run. From the beginning, it takes approximately between 6 and 8 seconds for this package to run. If one day you come and check here on execution performance and someone calls and say, hey, Flora, my package is failing, I really don't know what's going on, you can at least do some troubleshooting here before you reach out to the person. Like, okay, it's running for this. Something happened, must have happened here. Why did it take this long to run? This package normally runs between 5 seconds. Now suddenly it's running here. It failed on this time. Is there anything that was running on my server? Were there backups running? Because SSIS are resource intensive. Maybe backups were running at that time and the SSIS package failed. Do I need to rerun it again to see if it's going to run or so on? And with this guide, I bring you to the end of this SSIS project. It's an introductory class. I hope that this was helpful, but I'm going to spend a few more minutes to help those who are having issues. But if you got lost in the process of this, watch the YouTube channel and follow through. Make sure you can do it. I see Ghislaine is laughing. I'm sure she got lost. Make sure you watch our YouTube channel and follow through. Make sure you can do what we've done today and put it down in writing. Because when you come for interview class and I ask you about what is your experience with SSIS, I don't want to hear anybody say, I don't have SSIS experience. Okay, you need some time to digest this and feel free to ask me questions during interview classes if you are still facing difficulties with this, or throw it in the forum and I can help you with that. But this is exactly how you do it. So I'm going to stop the video here.